What is up, YouTube team? We are here for for Power Hour on Tag a Bag Tuesday, and we've got some great opportunity here. Thank you for showing up because you look like you're ready to make some money, and we are too. We got to buy as we're coming into the end of the day here, and this is in that Znog stock, ZNOG. We're watching to see if we can get a push past this 275 spot. It's having a hard time lately, but we got a little bit already, and we're seeing if we can get some more as the day goes on. But this is an oil stock we've been watching now, looking for a 52-week breakout. And it's coming up to that 279 spot, which is the 52-week breakout. So we'll see if it's able to do it. But how are we doing, YouTube Tam? This is another Tag a Bag Tuesday, the second one we're having this year. This is something new that I'm doing live every Tuesday afternoon for my Power Hour session, which is usually a session that I look to make money. Most of my buys do come from the afternoon session. So let's see what we get here to close out the day. Besides this ZNOG that we've already got started in, let's look at the other stocks that are up. And it's cool. The reason why we're really looking at the ZNOG is because the other two stocks we're watching are also oil stocks. So we have NINE, which is a penny oil stock, holding 46 cents almost all day and creating a pretty nice green day. The thing I don't love about oil stocks is they're not the best at following up. There are a lot of days where they don't follow up, at least with 9, but there are days that it has. So it's a 50-50 chance. As long as we have a good cut, we like it. So we want to get it closer to 46, 45.5, because that would be our cut spot. But I do like that one as well as ZNOG. And then the other one I'd say I'm a fan of too is INDO here. And INDO, multi-month breakout, holding. I don't think I'd buy this one. I like those other two better. But if this continues, most likely the other ones will too. And then you have the oil ETF that I like to keep an eye on. And if this is moving, it helps out with the oil stocks. And this is moving on the upward momentum. And we have a lot of momentum and a lot of news coming out of the oil sector lately. So it seems to be where the eyes are right now. And that's where we're going to send our direction. WTI, another stock creating a pretty big gain day. So we'll start with those stocks, and then let's see if we can find other possibilities as well. The other couple of ones that I like, so the goal is every day at 3 p.m. Eastern, I create a watch list called the overnight watch list. And that overnight watch list consists of 5 stocks I look to potentially make money off of overnight. So as we kind of set ourselves up here, about 2:30 to 3 o'clock, I set myself up here for 5 stocks. I have more than 5 that I'm watching right now, but I'd say these 5 right here. And it's going to be ZNOG, NIN, QSI for a quantum stock, Nubo for an OTC, and Recap for an OTC. Actually, no, I'm going to do Hub C. Ooh, this is tough. Hub C and Recap is a tough decision. But Hub C is a stock that I put on my weekly watchers. This is a defense stock. It seems like it's due to run, which it's trying to run right now. But this stock seems to be a stock that's due to run. I put it on my weekly watch list as my jackpot stock. And it looks like it's hitting the jackpot right now if you caught it earlier today. But nice start. It's tough which one I want to decide to put on there. So I usually like to put 5 stocks on that overnight watch list. And why I put 5, it helps me kind of zone in to pick and choose what I like. And honestly, I only like to do like 1 to 2 stocks every day. So try to keep it small. Less is more in my opinion. And honestly, if you have a smaller account, you have to make less mistakes. So it's kind of a better strategy. Also, the reason why I'm showing up here at 3 p.m. Eastern and why I personally like to show up at this time is because now we've seen these stocks hold all day, or we've seen the support levels they can hold. That gives me an idea of what I could risk where I can risk my stock, and then where I can possibly say, all right, if this stock comes down to this spot, we have to get out. So if you look at ZNOG, it's at $1.7 million in volume. But if it comes back to 27, which it hasn't fell below all day, we have to get out. And we're in right now at 274. So, or 273, pretty much, 35. So right around this area. But if it comes below 2.7, we have to get out. And this is looking for a 52-week breakout in an oil stock that we've been watching now, like I said, for a little bit. It reminds me of this OTC stock that's higher priced, but it took a while to break out if you look at it like this, and then eventually went. And when it went, it had a really nice day. So we'll see if that one can have that nice day. Right now, all we can ask for is to set ourselves up with a good risk level. So people that think penny stocks are risky, you just have to make sure you have a risk level and you stick to that spot. So that is a watcher. Other ones that we got going on here, 9, QSI, Nubo, and then I think we're going to do recap. Hub C will be my little bonus one we'll keep an eye on. So give me about 2 minutes to update this overnight watch list. It's something that I do with my community. If you aren't familiar with it, we actually have a live trading every single day. I'm actually in a community called the Stock Mavericks up in Simpler Trading. So if you go to the Simpler Trading website, you can come join us every day and do this if you like. Yesterday we made some money, but Monday was really our big day. Yes, today was like a break-even day. Monday was a nice day. And last week was a great week. It's actually been 6 straight green days so far. And today was pretty much break-even. So the goal is to create 5 stocks that I think have a good opportunity to follow up overnight. Nothing is guaranteed, but that's where I'm going to create these levels. I always like a daily resistance and a daily support because those levels will tell me where I want to try for the stock to break out and get above and hopefully sell it above that spot, and where I need to say I need to get out, which is the daily support. So those are always key levels that I'm going to set myself up with every day when I create these watch lists. And the first one is going to be ZNOG, which is coming up to 52-week breakout. Hasn't got there yet, but it's right there. It just tipped it. And it's an oil stock, and oil's pretty hot, so it's an OTC oil. So if you're reading this watch list, how you would read it is the stock first, the pattern I play, and then what kind of stock it is. And then the resistance is the level we want it to break above, but the goal is buy as close to the support as possible because that's what you have to use as cut, which would be 2.7. All right. So the next one I would put on there is 9, NINE. It's another first green day listed oil stock now. So 2 oil stocks because oil seems to be where a lot of eyes are. And I like to be where the volume is or where sectors are moving. In my personal opinion, I make most of my money in an area that's usually hot, which is called sector momentum. And right now, there's not much. Last year was boiling hot, but metals have been heating up to start the year. Silver's heating up. So there's stuff out there. Today, I'd say there's not much. But this oil looks like it might be starting up right now. So that's kind of why I like it. All right, and then the next one we have here, which OCGN was on the list yesterday and it completely curled. It's actually testing multi-month highs right now. The next one I'm going to put is actually a quantum stock, and this stock's known to follow up after first green days. A first green day to me is usually a stock that's made a 10% day after 3 or more red days, or it's been going sideways for multiple days and then it finally creates a 10% day. I know this isn't 10%, but it's close enough to it. And there's not as much else that I like. I do like this one. If any of you guys have any questions about or ones that you want to bring up, let me know. All right. And then let me just finish off with the last 2. UURF was one we took overnight yesterday, and it's actually up pretty nicely today. It had a pretty good curl. So this was one from the overnight watch list yesterday that looked pretty well. Will this one get started up again? It was an old OTC runner. And then the last one I'm going to put on there is another OTC runner that was a former big runner, and it's coming up to that dollar spot as well as multi-month breakout. And look at that. The one that it's taking its place was a dollar breaker as well. So those are going to be the ones that we're going to close our day out with. The goal is always to try to buy as close to the support levels as possible and sell above the resistance hopefully tomorrow. Or I always say about 10 to 15% is a nice bag. If you can make some more, that's usually a bonus. If it has sector momentum, it usually is able to continue a little more, or news, which none of these stocks actually have as of right now. It doesn't look like it. So no news, but obviously with the Venezuela stuff going on and all this stuff with the oil, it's definitely oil's in the vicinity of the news. And then the one quantum stock and then two OTCs here. This is actually an energy stock that kind of goes with oil as well. It's like a metal stock. Metals have been running lately. And then the bonus one, the last but certainly not least, is this Hub C. And every single Monday, I create a weekly watch list. And I put Hub C as the bonus play on there. So I always like to put one play that doesn't usually, like if you were looking at it earlier, you're probably like, why would anybody even look at this stock? Look at that. It's up 20% now. It's a war stock. There's a lot of war stocks that have been running lately, and we're still kind of dealing with that stuff. What up, Toby? How we doing, man? So far, we just got some Xenog. That's about it. So 279 is that breakout there that it just tested randomly. 9, I wanted it closer to 46, so I'm trying to be patient there. USO is still holding, which is the oil ETF. And then what about this first red day we talked about earlier? VXRT finally collapsed. Couldn't get back above that 80 spot. And timber. Will it create that follow-up green day? Is always the next question. But usually that's a pattern of mine that I like. I just didn't, I wouldn't do it right now. I don't have a comfortable enough spot. But it was one as well from the morning watch list. What up, Himini? How are we doing? We got the YouTube team. What do we got? Anyone got any questions over here? Let's see if anybody has anything to say. Any questions? All right, I'm smacking this Xenog. We're just going to take the average we have here. So we're going to go after this Xenog. We've already have some at 273. Going to go after the rest here. Oh, and there we go. Oh, sorry. Thought it was pulled up. We'll see if we can get some buyers at all, but this is one that I've been literally watching all day, seeing if anything going to come out of it. It's an oil stock too. It's one I've been watching all week on the weekly watchers too. We'll see if it can make that move. 279 is the big spot. If it does dip and keeps holding 27, I will probably add one more time into the end of the day. But we have 33,000 shares already at 274. Look at this EVTV today. Talk about momentum. I know a lot of people are trying to short that one. We'll see if they can pull that off. Let's see if Xenog can deal with that buyer here. I mean, that 52-week breakout, or it gets rejected. We'll see. A listed stock, because I do like to bring up listed stocks. It's not like I only play penny stocks. I play anything that lines up with my opportunity. There is actually one option, because I know there's a lot of option traders out there that kind of like to do that. And I do, my patterns honestly trade off emotions. So one stock that's creating a first green day that I think is not a bad watcher for something that could possibly follow up is Reddit. And it's coming up towards 52-week highs too. So keep an eye on that one. But the patterns don't only work for, what I like to play. It's really just finding what works, what stocks you like, but the patterns I play are really emotion based. Which right now in Reddit, shorts are scared. We still have 40 minutes left in the day. The only thing we really got is that Xenog. I do want to try to possibly see if 9 could dip closer to 46 to get some of that. I do like it for a gap up, but be aware that oil stocks aren't the best at gapping up. Xenog I've played before and that gapped up, but 9 is different. I mean, recently, almost a week ago when oil just started, so this is when everything kind of just happened over the weekend. That was when like the Venezuela stuff happened. And 9 actually gapped up really big from 34 to 35. That's why I'm still watching this one. And then it leveled out, if you look at it, and it looked to continue. So will it be able to get that push back above 50 is the next question we ask ourselves. The main thing we got to see, though, is Xenon going to be able to push past the breakout. Last time it came to this spot, it got pushed down pretty hard. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But nice start there. We still have 14 minutes left in the day. I do want to pay attention to the level 2s because they got pretty heavy earlier as I've been watching it throughout the day. So keep an eye on those level 2s to see if it could break back above this 279. I forgot to bring up Bitcoin. And honestly, if Bitcoin breaks back above this 95K, I think we're going to 100K. We got a nice green day out of it. Markets are pretty strong today. Markets, well, actually QQQ and SPY are red. But we had good CPI numbers earlier. So we'll see. But with BTC, got a nice first green day to second green day at MSTR. Hopefully no one sold their kidney for that one. QSI is giving us a little dip. In the power hour, this time of the day where I like to buy, I always say it's important to buy into dips. If you like the stock, you have to treat the dips as discounts. So a stock like QSI, if it comes back to 126, 127, that's actually a good sign if we're not in it, because now we have less risk, more reward, and we set ourselves up for the possibility of winning. I always say there's no way you can win unless you set yourself up. Everyone says people are lucky or stock traders are lucky, but they're putting themselves in that position and they're setting themselves up. And that's more what it's about. NLST is a former runner that just got back above $1. We'll see if this OTC can get going again. Man, our OTC is moving again. What's going on? That'd be nice. NLST right to $1. We got some patent news, but nothing recently. I always look at the news because news is a little bit of bonus if they do have news. Not saying go out and buy any stock that has news, but If price action matches with the news and the risk and reward, why not? All right, so we still got 40 minutes left here. The only thing we got is the ZNOG at the 274 spot. See if it can break 279. If it can, that'll be a positive. Last time it came to 279, though, it did get pushed down after that. So we got to play it for the gap down, and hopefully it doesn't go red to green. Looking for a strong push into close. What? You never know. If you look at USO, that's still holding, which is nice. NINE, which is also the other penny stock that's an oil stock, but that's listed. That one's kind of holding. So we'll see if we can get any push here. Weird ticks that are going on there. At this point, you just stick to the plan. Once you're in it, you gotta just stick to the plan, stick to the cut, and that's how you stay level-headed every day. So that's how I show up every day, saying, "All right, we know it works because of what happened in the past and all the past history that I've recorded. If I keep going at it in the long run, no matter what happens, you're gonna get it back." And I've done that all through recording my trades from all the way back in 2015. So it's been a while since I've been doing it. Look at Hub C. Something's going on with the jackpot stock. It'll be a good one to watch after hours for sure. Nice little first green day. What a crazy pre-market. Looks like they named their CFO yesterday, and that's why they got that spike. Oh no, that spike just happened. Wow. So Hub C's been a very volatile day there for what it usually does. Not really anything jumping out too much besides this NINE here, if it gets a big enough dip. But we've got to come a little bit closer to 46, 45.5 to lessen up the risk. I'm not going to risk it above 48. So if we drop below 48 and we keep holding, this level, then that'll definitely, for me, start to become a big interest. But I don't like to kind of buy up by the high a day. I'm not one of those people. If you do that, you usually lead yourself at a better chance to lose. And the goal usually is to keep your losses at a minimal. You can lose, though, in trading. That's a big part of trading. Let's see. Let me see. There we go. There's my track record. So I have over 1,500 losses now on 3,600 trades. So almost half my trades, 58% win ratio, which isn't a lot, but that's why you stick to what you know and you stick to the plan that you create for yourself, which mine is always right here. And every day we try to work at that. There's different plans for different situations, but for the most part, I'm sticking with the same one because that's what's worked for me for the last eight plus years. Man, that VXRT first red day was the one this morning. So now tomorrow we'll look for a panic dip buy, but if anybody caught that short, that was a huge move there. All the way back to 57 now. So if you were shorting anywhere around here in the 70s, midday 76, 75, 74, you're up really nicely there. And if you don't like shorting, I always show people on Thinkorswim you could do minus VXRT, and you can look at the stock upside down, and it'll help you kind of say you're going to long it instead of short it, however you want to look at it. But that looks like a first green day. The QQQ actually started, and the SPY started with the gap up, but they're coming back down to lows now. I didn't realize how much they've come back down. So it's nice to see that no matter what market we're in, as the markets still come back down to lows, up, down, or side to side market, we're still going to find some opportunity. And that's with these 5 stocks we have on the overnight watch list. Does anybody have any questions or anything? Let me know. So zoning in on ZNOG and 9 as the 2 oil stocks to watch here for possible overnight gappers. Hope to see absolutely amazing day it's having. QSI is getting a dip, so let's see where that one dips to. Dips to. I'm not really sure why this QSA one's up because most quantum stocks are down, so I think I'm going to stay away from that one. But it is giving you the dip, and you do want to buy into dips if you like it. So this would be the area you would like it at if you do like it. But I think that one, QSI, is the one that I'll stay away from on the overnight watch list. Hub C from 30 to 45. That's technically 50%. It's a 50% gainer right there. So that's why I call it the jackpot stock. Holy Hub C. When will this stop now? That's what you got to say. How much more is it going to spike to? Is this going to be the beginning of it? That's what we have to also ask ourselves. I don't really want to chase it, but wow. Right back to 48. But Hub C will definitely be a watcher as the week continues. I think there's a chance it gaps up, maybe levels out for a day, and then breaks back out. The one we took overnight ended up curling a little bit later, but it ended up doing it. It just took a little bit longer than we wanted it to. And then we got a couple big runners to keep an eye on for the rest of the week. So I like to have a list of big runners that we'll be watching for usual morning momentum plays, I call them. And this will be one, but not tomorrow. We'll see how it levels out. AHMA, we'll see how that one levels out. XTLB is a big runner. We'll see how that one levels out. And then one I was watching today, but it failed, GP. It's bouncing now, but this one is not one I would play anymore. And then ANPA was another higher price one that we were watching, but that one's actually kind of failed its way out. So tomorrow I'll keep my eyes on this XTLB. And I think Hub C is not a bad one to add to this big runner list. Because what we look for is a big spike, a settle for a couple days, and then you try to catch the shorts off guard. So we'll see if we can do that. But right now, Hub C is definitely catching the shorts off guard. Huge run there from 35 to even 45. So just the past hour, a really big run. We have 35 minutes left. Usually 25 minutes left. Usually the last 30 minutes is when I get a little more aggressive and I like to buy more. The past couple of days, we've had 2 or 3 stocks overnight every night for like 2 straight days, 3 straight days. But today might not be one of those days. It might be a little more patience, understanding when to pull back the gas a little bit and say we probably should just take one of these or 2 of these. So I'm still watching 9 for a dip, definitely. And 9 will move after hours slightly, so you can watch that. That's a listed stock. Hub C also will probably move after hours, so you can watch that. The reason why I liked getting into ZNOG already was because it's listed. So with the listed one, with the OTC one, it doesn't move after hours, so you kind of have to get in when you feel comfortable. And how I feel comfortable is by creating a support level. And we've got those levels here on the overnight watchers. And then looking for those levels to hold and break back above into the close. Let's see if 9 dips below 48 here, keeps holding 48. So still keeping an eye. I have actually 5 screens in front of me, and the one that you're looking at is one with 8 different stocks. I usually like to say 5 are my main watchers. And then I always keep one screen if I do have a sector that looks good, I keep it up. So to the right of me is all oil stocks because oil is the one sector I'd say I'm watching today. And then other than that, I have the other 2 screens with just a variety of stuff. One of them does mainly have like gold, ETF, silver, QQQ, SPY, Dow, just so I can keep an eye on the overall markets and all the ETFs and the sector ETFs. So that's how I like to have my screens organized. And if you are trading with just one screen, I usually recommend to try to get at least 2. The more the merrier. I actually just brought another screen that I got for Christmas up. So we'll see if where I'm going to set it up even here. I don't even know. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out if I have to. Put it behind me, I will. Whatever we can do to keep watching more. Nah, I always say less is more. But I do personally like to see everything. It's just something that I've always done for my 7-8 years of full-time trading. I feel like it's a pilot chair when you're sitting here looking at everything. Flying a plane. The money plane. Hub C's continuing to squeeze, making new highs there. Unbelievable. So if you go watch the last video that I just created on the YouTube, I just released it. It's about the weekly watchers and the stocks we're watching for this week. And Hub C was a jackpot one. And I think you can call that a jackpot. If it gets to 50, we're almost at 70% now from the lows here. And 50 is that next big spot. If you zoom out to the long term on HUBC, it was at 14. I mean, early in the year, you could see it also has huge runs here in July. And this would be a perfect example of the big spike in morning momentum play. So if we do miss a big gap up, try not to get too mad, but we look for the morning momentum curl. That's the play that we're talking about right there. I mean, that's a perfect example of it. So Hub C did it from 714 to 15 to 16. We'll see what it can do here, but it's starting up with something big. If it can follow up with another big day, that's what starts it up. So Hub C will be a watcher. We got 20 minutes left. I'm deciding if I do want anything else or if I do want 9. If 9 comes closer to 46, there's a good chance we do it, but I'm not going to do it up here, but it's dipping. It is dipping, and dips are discounts. We're 20 minutes left here. If anybody has any questions or tickers that they're looking at, let me know. And the goal for these stocks is to sell it from one day to the next. So most likely sell on Monday morning, or if it gets an after hours push, if it's a listed stock or a pre-market push. Hub C is unreal here. Looks like it wants 50. So if you go check out that YouTube video, and if you missed it, if you're on the team and you missed it, you can go check it out on YouTube for the weekly watchers, but it's something I like to do every single Monday morning to get my week started. And there is Hub C, but I talk about it as more like the jackpot stock because PRZO just spiked and other war stocks were spiking like UAVS, which UAVS is also another one that's up. So if I bring up war stocks, speaking of war stocks, we have a lot that's going on right now, not just in Venezuela. Hub C, PRs or UAVS is another one. This is like a drone war stock. Oh, it spiked really big earlier, but it's come back down. And PRZO is another one. So some decent watchers that ended up spiking recently. And honestly, usually when this one spikes, Hub C does. So that's why I was like, Hub C kind of looks like it's ready to go. I never like to say I want to make money off of something like that, but it's more sector momentum, and these stocks are just related to that. Silver and gold are finally cooling off a little bit. They've had a huge run lately. Yesterday, silver gapped up to new all-time highs of $80.80, at least the SLV ETF. And then the gold ETF as well came up to new highs of 426.12, but both of them kind of are coming down. We need those to cool off. Too much action is going on there. But over the weekend, we actually played a gold stock. Really nice move on one of the gold opportunities over the weekend. Surprised there's not more Bitcoin stocks moving with BTC doing what it's doing. And the last oil stock, this Indo, is still holding. So I put Nubo on there instead of Indo, but that was the other oil stock I was watching. But Indo's on a second green day, multi-month breakout run. So that's why I was less interested in that one. 15 minutes left here. Can we pull off a gap up again? We've had a great morning to start Monday. Tuesday was also pretty much break even, and last week we were green every day. So we're trying to keep the streak going here in 2026. It's a small account challenge here that we're starting up in the chat. We're going to try to take 7,500 to 100K this year. And then from 100, we're going to try to keep excelling that to maybe 1 million. We'll see what we can do. But we got to start. And I think it's nice to be able to start all together. So that was the number I kind of picked. I know it's still a lot, but if somebody can kind of mess around with that number, you can always put less if you really wanted to. But that's kind of where I was saying let's start 2026. And it's been a nice start so far. Accounts up more than 30% to start the new year. We got 15 minutes left. I don't know where those big sellers went in Xenon, which kind of makes me nervous a little bit because it used to have huge sellers. I ate through one of them. I did see that, but there was another one, but I guess it's still holding that. And how you can tell if it's a big buyer or a big seller, well, that's why I have all these pulled up. This level 2s right here is what I'm reading. And there was a 250K spot at 275. It looks like it went through a lot right there. So maybe these two actually did eat it. I'm not sure. We'll see if it maybe pops in at the end of the day. I hope not. I hope we get a big buyer that pops in, which usually would help it. The other OTC recap is still holding too, close to that dollar spot. I don't really have the best cut in recap though. You'd have to go back down to 90. It's not the worst. But usually the later that these hold, the better. So, the later you enter, I always say there is a kind of a decision that you have to make because if you never make it, then you're just going to buy high a day. So at one point you do have to decide, but usually you have an hour and a half. That last 2:30 to 4 is like a time that you got to just analyze. And as the time gets closer, decide which one you want to go after. The other 9 is still dipping a little. And last time it had the big gap up day, when the Venezuela stuff first started, from here to here, it actually dipped pretty big at the end of the day. So let me see if I can go back to it. Yeah, it was like right here. It dipped at the way end of the day. Yeah, see? It was a really small first green day, but it was the day that all the news was coming out. And then it randomly got a small dip into the close, and then it gapped. And it did the same thing again. Dipped into the end of the day, and then it gapped. So I think I could wait a little more for 9 to maybe dip for us. I know we only have 13 more minutes left, but you also don't have to take anything. If you don't like anything, but when you have the right risk level and the right volume and the right pattern, it's always worth it, I say. So if you want QSI, it dipped to 126, 127. Technically you would use 124, 122 as cut. Very minimal cut if you think about it. I'll be watching that one after hours for sure. All right, there's nine's dip, exactly like we just talked about. Oh, perfect timing. How much more lower can we come? Technically, the support would be down here. Let's see. I don't mind it if it dips far enough. I've seen this stock gap up before, but if oil does gap down, you got to be careful. See if it comes down a little more. If it doesn't come down a little more for 9, I'm not going to go after it. But that is definitely the start that I wanted here with only 11 minutes left. So 10 minutes, we got the fourth quarter. Looking for the fourth quarter push is what I like to call it, with 10 minutes left in the day. I think 9 would be the only other one I'd probably go after here, just for today to tomorrow's sake. Tomorrow morning is new opportunities, new day. I mean, you saw what happened with VRXT. If we were able to take advantage of that one, we probably had a nice bag as well to close out the day here. So one short, one long would always be nice. But we'll see what else we get tomorrow. I'm actually looking for a panic now in this stock. So, well, what a panic means is we keep dropping below 50 cents now that we've fallen from 80 to 50, and we maybe come closer to where it was supported at before, which is actually all the way down here at like 35. And if it does come to there in a quick manner, a short amount of time, then we look to take that overnight. All right, we got 9 minutes left. Let's see what we get here. Can we get any type of push? If anybody has any questions, let me know now. Now is a good time. So if 9 comes below 47, that's when I'll really think about it. But right now, I'm still kind of just waiting and seeing. And then Xenog's that one we got. I mean, technically, if you get in at 4.7 and then 4.55 is still only like, it's a very tight cut as well. Patience is a part of that, and sometimes trading is boring. As much as a lot of people put out all the funny stuff and the fancy stuff, the boring stuff is usually what's going to make you the money. And especially the watch list that you create and all the stuff that you do after the market is the boring stuff that not a lot of people realize. So there is work that goes into trading. It's not just you show up and make money. But I'd rather do this kind of work than drive in 30 minutes, 40 minutes away to a job, put on a dress, suit and tie, whatever the heck you have to wear, and talk to somebody fakely all day. I've seen it before. I've done it. This is a lot of fun in my opinion. Someone's going to tell you, oh, you're late today. It's time for you to start your day out better. Don't miss that at all. Alrighty, Nubo actually curled, if anybody caught that dip. 9 tried to curl. I'll watch that after hours more 9. I didn't catch that dip. I probably should have maybe gone after 47, but it's back to 49. So nice curl. Keep an eye. If it gaps up above 50, if it already gaps up above highs and you got at 47, you're close to up 10% already. So that's why catching dips are nice. But I'll definitely keep watching this 9 after hours to see if it can make a move or a gap up. After hours closes at 8 p.m. Eastern, so that's usually the time that around like 7 o'clock I'm still not in and it's still kind of holding. Or if it came down to support and it's holding that during after hours, that's when I'll decide to get in. I might have missed that 9 dip there. We watched it for us. It did give us that opportunity. Keep an eye out on USO as well. This is the oil ETF. It doesn't mean if this is down, they're going to be down, but you just want to keep an eye on it. It does usually help if this is up. So 9 trying to bounce. We got 5 minutes left looking for the buzzer beater pushes here. All right, let's see if 9 comes back down a little bit more. It's interesting to see Xenog not breaking. We might have to wait one more day for a possible gap up. If it doesn't gap up tomorrow, we're probably just going to have to sell. But if it does gap up, I mean, this is technically the 52-week high is 279. It should push above that. Depending on how much higher it goes, we'll see. We'll have to play our hand there. But that's the first step. We need to get above that 279. Still haven't quite pulled the trigger on 9, but I'll be watching it. I have a feeling it's going to gap up. And then Recap actually hung around. It never really dipped at all. So that's still in action as well for tomorrow's big breakout above 99 cents and $1. I'll put that on the morning watch list. I start every day with a new morning watch list as well. So we do one live session in the morning, one live session in the afternoon. Both of those sessions I create a watch list before to try to make some money off of. And also to show you the plan of whatever stock we're in overnight, like Xenog. Now, it looks like we ran into some sellers in Xenog. So we might have to wait for the possible gap up. Just hope it holds. That's what we more look for. Let's hope that we hold here into the close. I know it's only up 2%, but it's more anticipating a possible move tomorrow. VXRT is going lower and lower and lower. So if you caught any of this short, what an opportunity there. No bounce at all. So that's why I think tomorrow might get our bounce if it keeps falling, especially collapses below 50 to start the day tomorrow. So keep an eye on this VXRT for a big bounce, but it needs to keep falling tomorrow. Oh my goodness, look at Hub C. It did break above 50. It never stopped. Wow. So the jackpot stock is jackpotting. Keep an eye on that. It's definitely a little disappointing we're not in that. I'm gonna have to make a little post about that later. Nice huge move. All right, we only got 50 seconds left. It looks like Xenog's not going to be able to break out. Wait, let's see. But it is still holding. And we didn't end up getting any 9. Oh, wait, it's dipping. 9 is dipping. So if 9 dips enough. Where is it? Yes. Oh, it didn't really dip into the close there. It's all right. All right, so we didn't go after that one. It didn't really give us the fill, which is fine. So that is where we'll end it. I mean, Xenon didn't break out, but it did close right there. Hub C was absolutely unreal for the jackpot stock. Huge runner and continue to just take off from that 30-cent spot that we found that earlier. So if anybody took advantage of that, great work. We'll keep an eye on 9 after hours. The other ones we'll keep an eye on. VXRT closed at lows, so also another one to be watching tomorrow morning, and we'll probably try to take advantage of that too. A lot of stuff going on, even though the QQQ and SPY are having red days, and that's what it's about. No matter what type of market, up, down, or side to side, we're looking to make money in the Mavericks room. So if you want to come catch us here, Simpler Trading under Stock Mavericks, come join the team. YouTube team. We'll see you guys next Tuesday for another live session. Go check out that weekly watch this video of Hub C if you haven't yet. See ya. Have the great rest of the day and be the best versions of you.